Uh, Here is 2021 Gauss 8, problem 25. So the problem is square PQRS has sides of length 8. It is split into 4 rectangular regions by 2 line segments, one parallel to PQ and another one parallel to QR. There are n ways in which these lines can be drawn so that the area of each of the 4 rectangular regions is a positive integer. What is the remainder when n squared is divided by 100? So, okay, choices are A, 9, B, 61, C, 1, D, 41, and E, 36. So our solution here is, since all 4 rectangles areas have to be integers, we use the small unit rectangle with area 1 to divide the big rectangle into 64 small divisions. First scenario, the unit rectangle has the scenario is the unit square has size 1 by 1, so you get 64 of these 1 by 1 squares. And besides the 1 by 1 square, there are other rectangles which also have unit areas of 1. For example, a rectangle with side length 2 and height 1/2. It also has an area of 1. And actually, all of the rectangles with the side length x and height 1/x have a unit area of 1. So we want to decide what x is for a rectangle with a side length of 8. So since the total side length is 8, x has to be greater than 0 and x is less than 8. If x is an integer that is not a factor of 8, there will be squares with non-integer area. So for example, if x is 7, the height of the unit square is 1/7 to get an area of 1. And then the remaining space is length 1, and it also has a height of 1/7. This doesn't have an area of 1, and the same goes for the remaining 2 rectangles who will each not have an area of 1. So x has to be a factor of 8 to divide the square rectangles that have areas of 1. So there are 49 circles here, so each of these is a way to divide it, you can see. And so that means there are 49 total ways of dividing the square with smaller unit rectangles or squares with length 1, or length integers, integer length. So here we have each unit rectangle here has an area of 1 still, and each joint with an x on it is a duplicated joint, so we don't want to count this on a second time. So we only count the joints with circles around them. And here you can see there are 24 circles, and since we can arrange this, we can also arrange this horizontally. We multiply this by 2, since there are 2 ways, 2 directions we can arrange this. And so 24 times 2 is 48, so there are 48 total ways of dividing it like this, with height 1/2. And yeah, each unit rectangle here has a area of 1 also, and same thing as last time, we don't want to count the joints with x's on them because they are duplicated already. And here we are dividing it by height 1/4, so the length has to be 4, so we can only have 4 and 8. And same goes for the previous slide, we can only have 2, 4, or 6, since the length has to be a multiple of 2. And so here you can see there are 16 of these circles, and same thing as the last slide. We multiply this by 2 because we can also arrange this in the other orientation, so we can also arrange this sideways. And so 16 times 2 equals 32. And if we add up all of these total ways to divide this big square, we get 129. And according to the question now, which asks for the remainder when we square n and divide it by 100, we square 129, and 129 squared is 16,641. Now we divide it by 100, and we get sorry, a remainder of 41. Sorry, there's a typo there, so do not think that is a bit weird. So, but the remainder is 41 either way. So we can conclude our answer is 41.